Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about how to overcome binge eating and emotional eating. I'm going to introduce you the 5 steps that I have applied to overcome binge eating and emotional eating. Stay tuned. My name is Eugenia and I'm the founder of Mind Fitness, that place to be to unlock the mind to create a body and love and life we want. And today I'm going to talk about the 5 steps that I have applied to overcome emotional eating and binge eating. First step for number 1 is the mindset. I really had to go deep, to dig deep, to understand what I was actually looking for in life. Because when we have binge eating, people say it's I'm addicted to food. It is not an addiction to food. It is something that we're looking for in food that we don't have in our life. So for me, when I looked inside myself, I realized what I was looking for was connection and love. I was lonely. So to overcome this, I needed to look for connection with other people. I had to make sure that I meet other people, like-minded people who understand me, who I understand, and where we feel a connection. So ask yourself, what is it what you are looking for? What does food mean to you? What do you replace your food for? That's point number 1. Point number 2 is mindfulness and awareness. So creating awareness around our thinking and behavioral and emotional patterns, because binge eating happens, usually there is a pattern. Yes, so usually it is even not always, but most of the time it is even calculated. I had to look into when did it happen, what day, on what kind of days, to what time of the day, what was happening. I realized that most of the time it was happening when I was alone at night time, or when my partner and I had a distance relationship at that time, when I was leaving him going back home. So I felt lonely again. I felt lonely on those nights. And most of the time, I also subconsciously prepare the binge. So even when I was shopping, I would buy those foods that I would usually binge on. For me, it was usually bread. So I always had to make sure that I have bread at home. So ask yourself the questions: what are my behavioral, emotional patterns? Is there a time of the day when I do it? What are my thinking patterns during the binge, before, or even after? So the more you can understand everything around it, the better you can understand and overcome it as well. That's point number 2, awareness and mindfulness. Point number 3 is beliefs. Ooh, that's a biggie. Beliefs are very, very deep inside ourselves, and they come from I talk a lot about the thinking, feeling, action, and results patterns. So basically, the more we think something and then we feel and then we act on it, the more we repeat that cycle, the more we create those beliefs about ourselves, or create those stories in our life why we can't do something or why we do something. So we find reasons why we do certain things. Yeah. And for me, my core belief was a big one. It was to understand and to be honest, being very honest with myself, that I thought subconsciously, I believed that if I am thin, I will be loved and accepted. So think about it, yeah? Like I said, point number 1, my core thing was that I felt lonely and disconnected. I didn't feel loved. So I thought that in order to be loved, I need to be thin, I need to have a certain body. steps to overcome the binge eating, I needed to understand that it was usually the dieting that triggered the binge eating. And why did I want to diet? Well, why did I diet? Is because I wanted to be thin. Why did I want to be thin? Because I thought this is how I will be loved. Yeah. So it really goes quite deep to understand those core beliefs. So you can ask yourself: is what do I believe about, if I go on a diet? What am I going to get out of it? What will happen if I lost all that weight? And also asking yourself, is that the truth? Is that the truth? So every time you think that this is my belief, reverse it to ask yourself, is that the truth? Or are these just only thinking patterns? That's that point number 3. Point number 4 is dieting. Oh, that's another big one. Why? Because um, usually a binge episode comes after a diet episode. Yeah, so it's usually the opposite of, we go on a diet, we restrict ourselves, and then we can't hold on to this anymore. We can't stay hungry anymore because we just get sick of it. So we then get out as like from one extreme to another, and then we end up binge eating on all the chocolates and all the food that we missed and wanted to actually wanted to have. Yeah. So you need to ask yourself, are you dieting? If you do diet, what foods are you restricting? And why are you restricting those foods? What is it that you're trying to get? And how can you have those foods in a healthier version in your diet? So, focusing on adding the foods you love so that you don't end up binge eating on them later on, and not restricting yourself from those foods that you love. Point number 5 is behavioral patterns. What do I mean by that? Is we just talked through the other 4 points, and once you realize all these things, then you can disrupt your patterns. So for me, it was because I knew that I was binge eating on nights or evenings when I was alone. I made sure that I integrated hobbies into my night. Yeah, I would go dancing, I would go and meet friends, I would go to yoga to really break those patterns. The same as with dieting, I had to break the diet patterns and look into the foods that I restricted myself. And for me, it was bread, as I said. And so I looked into, okay, how can I integrate healthy version? I went and bought a beautiful whole grain bread, sourdough bread, and it was delicious. And you know what? By the way, I had only 2 slices of that bread and I lost interest. I was not interested in it anymore. And that's what happens. Because what happens is, if we are restricting foods, then they become more appealing. But if it's all there, then like, I can have it at any time. You see, the interest just goes and it's not as extreme anymore. Okay. So that's the behavioral patterns. Ask yourself what foods you are restricting and how can you integrate that into your diet. Then what are your patterns there? Is it certain time of the day? Is it when you had emotional breakdown, when you were sad, frustrated? All those things. What are the things that you do? Do you go on Netflix and start binge on Netflix? And when you watch Netflix, that's for your body, it's oh, okay, now I can relax, now I can binge eat, now I can just eat whatever. So what are your patterns there? Write them down. The more clear you are, the better you can go into the deeper work and help yourself to do something instead. Ask yourself, what are your benefits from binge eating? What are you getting from it? how can you get that in a healthy way, in a way that will serve you? Well, this was a big video here today. We talked about 5 different points, and I hope that this video was helpful for you. To help you a little bit more, I have created a mindful eating guide where I guide you through a really deep and beautiful exercise where you can ask all these questions I've just mentioned today, and even more. So you can create a deeper understanding, deeper relationship around food, your relationship to yourself, and to your eating habits and your eating patterns. Now I would like to hear from you. Have you ever had binge eating? How did you overcome it? I'd love to leave a comment below, even message me maybe privately. Go on my website mindfulness.nz and leave a message there if you would like. Otherwise, find me on Facebook, on social media, Eugenia Nicofaro Coach. You can find me there, and let's connect. Let's really talk about this topic, because there are so many people who feel very, very similar. And let's really share, how did you overcome it, so that we can inspire each other to do the same. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please share with your friends, with all the people that you love and you believe that they might want to hear this, and click that subscribe button, and yeah, go to mindfulness.nz and subscribe to my newsletter to get more inspiration, and to listen to what I say about things that I don't talk anywhere else other than there.